Welcome to Dirty Fanatics United.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, Dirty Fanatics United is coming at you live on a Sunday afternoon. As always, I am your host, C-Money, also known as Chase. My guy, Philip, a.k.a. Mr. Avitz, my co-host, as always. And my guy, Robert, Mr. Megabiv, is here in the chat. Two of my fine co-hosts here of DFU. Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, man. We are on the road to 1K, and we cannot do it without you guys. Philip, what's going on, man? It's been a little break since we've spoke Falcon football. Obviously, it is bye week today. There is no Falcon football on TV, but there are games that matter today in the Falcon stance of how this playoff race could turn out. Philip, what's going on, man? How we feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It was a cold night Friday night. We had me and you were obviously there. It was a good little time. We left at halftime because it was a little too cold for the kids, but it was also a dog walk here in Atlanta County, so in Jimmy Swain Stadium. So we sail on to the next round of the playoffs. We feeling good. The Dogs got into the SEC championship. We're feeling good. Next week we'll see who we play between A&M or Texas again. So we'll see how that goes. And also we get Falcon football next week. So I'm excited to come into this week because it's also Thanksgiving, man. So it's gonna be a good little week. Gonna be a little busy at work. But it's life.
Holiday seasons are rolling around. Falcon fans, this is what we live for outside of football. Falcon fans, it is holiday season. It is Thanksgiving. One of my favorite holidays being because of the food. And then you have obviously family around, and then right around the corner comes Christmas. Then it's the New Year's. Perfect. The holiday season is finally setting in. There is no Falcon football today, as Philip stated, but next week we are rolling around to a very big matchup, the Falcons versus the Chargers, facing a defense that pressures the quarterbacks, number one in the NFL. A big matchup coming out straight out of the bye week, looking to be healthy after that. Mr. Robert, what's going on, man? Obviously, holiday season is here. A bunch of unpacking, a bunch of decorating, a bunch of food cooking. Robert, what's going on, man? How's life treating you?
Life's treating me pretty good right now. Loving the new job. Putting a lot of this past year's negativity behind me. I can see light at the end of the tunnel, gentlemen. And we've got a lot to look forward to with the Dogs. Going to the SEC championship game. The Falcons are still in the driver's seat. That's the important thing when it comes to football right now. Got a tough matchup against the Chargers coming up next week, but this couldn't have come at a better time. We need the rest. We need the healing. We need to make the adjustments. The Falcons just need to declutter, basically. Absolutely. And get back to basics, get back to fundamentals, and do what works.
Yes, sir.
I agree 100%, man. Speaking on it, we got to talk about it because the Dogs pulled off a major win last night. It wasn't too big of a team, or yesterday at lunch. It wasn't too big of a team to pull a major win out on, but the Georgia Bulldogs pull a 50-point dub over UMass. Philip, you stated it as Robert stated it. The Georgia Bulldogs are back in the SEC championship. Falcon fans that are Georgia fans have another team to be happy about. Not only are your Falcons leading the NFC South, but you also have your college team walking into the SEC championship. But we'll go around the table real quick about this because I wanted to ask you guys, being Georgia Bulldog fans, some Bulldog fans say that they would wish that maybe the Bulldogs could have stayed out of the SEC game because of having to play such a high-tier team and then maybe possibly being knocked out of the playoffs because of the SEC championship. Philip, we'll start with you and then rotate to Robert with that question.
I mean, I can see what they're saying, but here's the thing. If you can't beat that top-ranked team, what makes you believe that you need to be in the playoffs, that possibly you could be there in that championship? If you can't beat some of the best in your own division, hey, why do you deserve to be there to begin with? That's how I see it.
I agree.
Just go in there and do your thing like always. Don't, just play Bulldog football and you will pull it out. Whether it's Texas, play like you did against Texas the first time. That's all I'm gonna say. And if it's A&M, don't take them lightly. You see how we do when we take teams lightly. Ole Miss, we got
Ole
it.
Miss just lost
Everybody,
to
Florida.
Florida.
We took Florida lightly too, and almost lost that one as well. But hey, you pulled out. You pulled it out. Just don't. You gotta quit taking teams lightly, and you gotta stay humble. That's the key word. Humble. Just stay humble, then you get through these games.
Abno in the chat, he says, 1 weekend and I can be stress-free until next week. Absolutely. Shout out to Abno in the chat. Robert, question goes to you, brother, being a dog fan and a Dirty Bird fan. Of course, we're going to talk about these Bulldogs. Big game coming up, SEC matchup. Actually, you have a really big game coming up Friday night against Georgia Tech, a team that is undefeated at home this season for the first time since like 1998, I believe it is.
It's going to be this Friday?
Yeah, it's a Friday night game.
Yep.
It's a Friday night game. It's a short week for the Bulldogs.
We might not be there.
Short week for the Bulldogs. You have to close out Friday night.
I'm going to be waving my flag around, baby. We selling.
Friday night.
We selling the seas that night, baby.
Them Pirates are in the third round of the playoffs, man. We there. Robert, question goes to you, man. Big matchup. Your thoughts on fans saying they would maybe hope that Georgia would miss the SEC championship and just play the playoffs instead of the SEC?
Well, it's like Philip said. I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. The SEC's got the best competition in all of college football. And, Georgia's been proving it year in and year out for the last 3 or 4 years. We belong there. And if by chance that, whether it's A&M or if it's the Longhorns, if they beat us, then we really didn't belong there anyway. And we cannot take Tech lightly Friday night. This is the same team that just knocked off Miami a couple weeks ago.
Speaking of A&M as well, I don't mean to cut you off. He gave me a good idea. Well, not idea, but thought. Auburn did beat A&M yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Very beatable team. It's just like you said, you can't take them lightly as well with Ole Miss. The Dogs had a time with Ole Miss, and Florida.
Can I just say, though, in college football, it is so much better to have these teams going back and forth with each other in the SEC, college football, it's just everything. It's better than seeing a team dominate over and over and over and over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's just more fun to watch more than one game.
It's any given Saturday for sure in college. In the
year,
NFL, you can kind of base off of who's going to win, who's got the better players. But when it comes to college, it is any given football game to any team.
This year in college has been, in my opinion, the most exciting since 2012. In my opinion, back when we had, I think it was Aaron Murray. Shout out to Jabri Harper with the like on Facebook. Much love, brother. He says, "Rise up, bruh. Rise up, Jabri. Glad to have you here in the chat, man. It is the bye week for these Dirty Birds. Tune in to DFU to get the bye week. I like it.
Bye week hot talk show is what we want to call it here for the content viewers. Falcon fans, hit that like button. Leave a comment. Big matchups today around the NFL that could affect what happens here in this playoff race for these Atlanta Falcons. Right now, the Falcons currently hold the number 4 seed in the NFC, which would be if the season ended, the Minnesota Vikings would face the Atlanta Falcons. They would be the 5th seed, we would be the 4th seed, which means the game's at home, if I'm correct.
Yes.
The game would be in the bins. The playoff game would be in the bins, Falcon fans. Do you hear this? Man, what, dude? Football season is about to get exciting if these birds come out of this.
Everything's in the bins, man. You got your fans hype, man. You feel me? You got some of them that's passed out from drinking because they can't believe it. We there. I mean, geez, that's just a good feeling. It's a good feeling.
So your matchups today that I, as a Falcon fan, I'm keeping an eye on would be the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. That is a big game to watch there. You have the Commanders versus the Cowboys. Obviously, you want to see the Commanders take a L there. Cowboys are hot trash right now. But to see them beat the Commanders would be a plus for the Falcons. Then you have the Chiefs at the Panthers. You want to see the Chiefs. You want to see the Chiefs beat the Panthers for sure because of the NFC South. 7-0 right this moment. Then you have the Buccaneers. You have the Buccaneers facing the Giants. That's a big matchup. The Giants just cutting Daniel Jones. Still 0-0 at the moment. Lions facing the Colts. The Colts are up 3-0. Want to see the Colts beat the Lions, the NFC leaders right now.
That'd be nice.
The Cardinals play the Seahawks. Seahawks right now are not in the seeds to make the playoffs. They're in the wild card at this moment.
Right.
They play the Cardinals. The Cardinals hold a bracket in the playoff spot. So you want to see the Cardinals take that out today. The 49ers play the Green Bay Packers, two teams knocking on the door to make that playoff race there in the NFC.
I think you would have. I feel like I want the 49ers to win that game, low key, because
you have Jordan Love's been playing bad football here lately. He's been overturning the ball pretty regularly here for the Packers.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the Packers like closer in record to close to us in record at the moment? Yeah, I think I would want the 49ers to low-key win that game, even though I hate the team.
That division there, the 49ers division there, it could go either way at the moment. It's still a handshaker right now.
Because with Seattle, and then
So then you have the Eagles versus the Rams. The Eagles now currently hold a playoff spot. They are at number 2 seed or 3 seed in the NFC. So they are a team to look for them to lose. We need the Rams to beat them today. And then the Ravens play the Chargers that Falcons play next week, the Chargers. So that's a game that I'll watch tomorrow at 8:15, Chargers versus Ravens, to kind of get an idea of what we're facing Sunday in the Benz. Benz needs to be packed out for this one.
You got players, Justin Herbert, man. We got some players to go up against, man.
Does anybody know who is filling in for Daniel Jones today against the Bucks?
What's the Italian guy? But you know who I'm talking about. He's filling in.
First name Tommy.
Yeah. I can't think of his last name.
There's so many backups in the NFL, man.
Damn, I can't think of his name. I can't think of the last name. It's
DeVito. I'm normally the comment there, DeVito. Shout out.
I'm DeVito.
Jabri Harbor said, let's get this bye weekend. Let's get it rest up and get ready to re-up next weekend. Got to. Absolutely. He said, let's go Giants for today. Rise up, Giants. Yes, you need the Giants to beat the Bucks. That is a big game for the Falcons. The Bucks are the ones that are knocking on the second place. They are sitting second. You don't want the Bucks to creep up and somehow win the NFC South, even though you swept that team. You don't want that to happen.
And their fans are talking all that ish on, they talking it, saying how they coming for us. We can't let that happen, man. We can't.
Nope.
So from my viewpoint, the only game that you have that I think that could not go the Falcons' way today would be the Buccaneers versus Giants. And that's the major one you need going your way.
Look,
and right now the Bucks are up 7-0. Right now, Bucks are up 7-0. But then again, it goes back to determine your own fate, determine your own destiny, which the Falcons have held all season long. And now they've gotten into this pattern now these last 2 weeks of sorry execution, no play style, sorry play calls. Players are banged up, a lot of backups on the field. I understand that 100%. You have to bounce back after this bye week. Guys, we talked about it all year about how after the bye week would be when you know if your team's a playoff contender or not. And we sit here and we know our team's a playoff contender. But let's keep it a buck here on the be that contender. I think we're having technical difficulties.
Yes.
Yeah, you're lagging a little bit.
There you go.
All right.
A little bit
All
better
right. Philip. All right, are we getting back into the scheme now? We back. We back.
I can hear you. It's just the camera is a little, it's skipping here and there, but I can actually hear you now.
I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi or if it's the StreamYard, but y'all bear with us here in the live chat. We were sorry for the technical difficulties. Philip, what I was saying is, your team now at the bye week is a playoff team, but for how long could this team advance in the playoffs playing the defensive style that we are playing?
Just being honest, we won't make it past the first round if we can
keep it a buck.
The way we do.
Keep it a buck, because that is 100% how I feel. That is 100%
if we continue to play like we're doing, we say it ends now. We're not making it out the first round, wild card, whatever. You wouldn't make it out. You're just not playing as a team, and that's something we hopefully over this long week and then this upcoming week as well. Maybe they fix that. They learn.
Philip, this is a comment. I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is a great comment from Alvin right here. We face two of the best pass rushers heading into Sunday after the bye week, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. This O-line has got to be on their P's and Q's Sunday after this bye week.
I ain't worried about the O-line a whole lot, but we have seen some guys rip and tear apart one guy, but I mean, I got faith in him. You know what I mean? Maybe this is last week was the game that they needed to officially wake them up. We thought it was the Saints. Maybe it was that one. You got embarrassed. You're now sitting at 6-5 where you wanted to be 7-4, or better yet 8-3. But it didn't happen that way. This is probably the wake up call, and maybe they needed that. Now, get humble, get healthy. Let's go out there and play some ball, man.
Robert, obviously, I'm sure you can feed off of that question as well. The Falcons now at the bye week, we spoke on it in the regular season, how at the bye week, we would know the identity of this team. We'd know where we sat and what we faced heading after the bye week. Now we're here at the bye week, officially 1 week away from the matchup with the Chargers, one of the best defensive lines that pressure the quarterback, something that's been a problem for the Falcons all season. Kirk Cousins ranking at number 2 with the most fumbles in the NFL. That is a serious issue here heading into bye week or out of the bye week. Robert, how do you see this team finishing this season off? How do you see this team bouncing back after the bye week? Is this team a playoff team, or is this a team that still has still got to get some missing keys into the building?
I still think we're a playoff team. I still think that we win this division. But again, that all depends on how we use this bye week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot of injuries, especially on the defensive side. And, a lot of fans are commenting, and they have a point. It's supposed to be next man up, and a lot of these backups don't seem to be, buying into that. But what it boils down to is the coaching staff is not putting these backups in the best position to succeed.
Absolutely.
You've got guys 10 to 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. We're getting picked apart. We're not getting any pressure on any opponent's quarterbacks.
Playing cover 12 on the goal line.
Exactly. I mean, what's the point in this? I don't get it. Jimmy Lake is a professional coach. He's going to have to figure it out. And it's not just Jimmy Lake. Zach Robinson's play calling the last 2 weeks has been horrendous. Why are we going back to the pistol formation? That is not the quarterback's strong suit.
At all.
Why are we not learned that, Robert?
At week 12 now, or week 11 last week, when you faced off against this team, and you've seen what you did week 1 in the pistol formation, it did not jive for this Atlanta Falcons offense, because that is not what this offense is built for. I agree 100%.
No, and another thing that kind of concerns me is you've got Bosa and Mack that are going to be coming after Kirk. Yep. And if the offensive line does not do their job, that's going to defeat the purpose of the play action.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk's going to get killed.
Yeah. So if you cannot get the run game going, if you can't get the run game going and you can't get the play action started, it could be a long day Sunday. And now this is something that I want to speak on, because this is an article that has been passed around this whole week, and we've talked about it in the group chat. Philip, me and you spoke on it for sure. I know we talked about it. But the fact that Matt Ryan was asked in his interview, when would the Atlanta Falcons make a change to maybe a Michael Penix Jr.? Where would Michael Penix Jr. see the field? And Matt Ryan's honest opinion, honest answer was twisted a million ways by the media, as it always is. Matt Ryan said that he felt as if Kirk Cousins could come back after the bye week and continue to win, that spot was signified for Kirk Cousins. But if Kirk Cousins came out of the bye week and this offense continued to struggle, continued to lose by 14 to 21 points a game, then it would be a question of if Michael Penix would be entered into the game. Philip, this question goes to you and the viewers here in the live chat. If you come out Sunday and you have another bad game against the Chargers like you did to the prior team that you faced, the Denver Broncos, that don't know if they're making the playoffs or not, this Chargers team's pretty dominant that they'll make the playoffs. Philip, if you have a bad game Sunday out of the bye week, is there a quarterback change, or is it too early to say? Falcon fans and DFU co-host, this is not a shot at Kirk Cousins. I rock with Kirk Chains all day long. This is just a topic we have to speak on because it's being passed around the media, and Matty Ice has officially spoken on it. Philip, your thoughts on Matt Ryan's response? If something is to be happening after the bye week and it's a bad outcome, could you see Michael Penix the remainder of the year?
In a way, I can, but also in a way, I'm also thinking of a certain way. Is it really the quarterback play, the offensive play?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot to factor into that.
Is it that, or just a certain play calls that are called that's just nothing there? Because the past 2 weeks, to me, it's not been the people who played. Yes, Kirk threw that one interception. That was completely on him against Denver. Everything else to me just seems like it was just poor, play calling, and then you have the poor execution because there's nothing there.
Well, then you get to a point in that game you were down early in that game. You were down 14 points before halftime, and then you don't get that catch that they call the fumble that you stopped them on.
Turnover downs.
That would have been turnover on downs to give your team life to move down the field to go score to give your team points. But then you get a point. You get to a point in a game where you're down 21 points or a 3-possession game, and you have no choice but to throw that deep ball. You have no choice but to sit your quarterback in that pocket and hope he can find that deep ball. And that's what the Falcons did Sunday against the Denver Broncos, because the run game, yes, it was working at times, but it was too late to run the football. So the offense was very guessable. The defense was able to relax and give you your cover 3, your man cover schemes. And that's how the Denver Broncos beat the Atlanta Falcons.
And this is another thing to me. This is why I'm blaming it more on the play calling. You're behind, like you said. We were behind that game 14-0 in the first quarter. Might have been second. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the fact is, you didn't create plays to get down the field. You kept calling screen passes.
Screen passes.
And then when you wasn't supposed to be,
you've got to throw that screen pass play away.
When you wasn't supposed to be running the ball, you ran the ball when you weren't supposed to. It's that stupidity that's what makes me lean more to coaching than it is on the players, because you can't have good execution if there's nothing good on that play to execute with. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing there. It's just you're sending them out blind, basically.
Yeah. My personal opinion on the whole situation, and Robert, we're coming to you with this question next. My whole, reasoning on this topic would be, if the Atlanta Falcons are officially eliminated from the playoff contention, then you start Michael Penix.
Then you do it.
Then you give Michael Penix game experience. You let him learn that offense. Then you look at the future and say, are we going to figure out a way to get rid of Kirk Cousins, or are we going to ride with Michael Penix? We decide on the future if you are eliminated from the playoffs. Then I say you may see a Michael Penix. But if Kirk Cousins is holding in there and you're still winning games, you're still on a tight rope, but you're still in the race for the NFC South and you can still make the playoffs, it'll be Kirk Cousins. Jabri says if Kirk plays bad for 2 to 3 more games, I say yes. Then it'll be Penix time. Robert, your thoughts on Matt Ryan's conversation with CBS? They did a little document on the Atlanta Falcons, and they said that obviously Matt Ryan said that if Kirk Cousins continued to play bad, that maybe you could see a Michael Penix Jr. Robert, when could you expect that, or do you expect Kirk Cousins to come out this bye week and really get to cooking here and take this team to the postseason?
I think Kirk's going to be okay. I think that he should be the starter right now. But, like if we do just fall flat, if we lose out, if we're eliminated, maybe a couple of games down the road, get Penix the game experience. But as of right now, it is too early. He is supposed to be the future. We spent a first-round pick on this kid, and he needs to be protected. I don't think that we should throw him out there behind a porous offensive line and get him killed and destroy his confidence and destroy him physically. I mean, if we're going to be riding with this kid in the next 2 or 3 years, make sure he's healthy. Make sure he's not just healthy physically, but mentally as well. I mean, how many times over the years have you guys seen quarterbacks just get shell-shocked behind bad offensive lines?
Desmond Ridder.
Exactly. That's the most recent.
Yeah, and then that happened right here in Atlanta. Your coaching system failed your rookie quarterback that you drafted in the 3rd round. And not only should Arthur Smith take a blow for that, but I think Terry Fontenot should take a blow for that as well. That was a bad execution point to do that young kid that way. Desmond Ridder, we hope the best for you, brother, but when we face you, that ass is grass. That ass is grass, Mr. Ridder. Falcon fans, hit that like button, leave a comment, man. Jabri Harper in the chat says, good point. Absolutely, great point. Mr. Robert always brings good points to the podcast, man. That's why you subscribe to DFU, because we bring you the facts and the stats, man. Philip, there was some Twitter drama going around this week. I'm sure all Falcon fans have heard about it. I'm sure everybody's chatted around in their messages and their comments on Facebook. Jamal Anderson. The Outcast hoodie was officially released. People received their Outcast hoodie. There was a tweet that came out from Jamal Anderson's Twitter that he was not happy that Matt Ryan got it for free and he had to pay for it. And that's why the Atlanta Falcons organization is in the situation they are in at this moment.
And so you're not diverse or in all kinds of things as well.
As tweets started to accumulate, it came out that Jamal Anderson said that a former employee of his had access to his Twitter account. Philip, your thoughts on that situation? We'll chat about it here for a minute, but was it a hack situation or did Jamal Anderson just bite the bullet and tweet too much?
Okay, so going back into it, at first I believed it was real. Okay, it just looked, I don't know. It looked bad. I woke up, I think it was Wednesday morning, maybe. I don't remember what day it was. Woke up and I just seen everybody was at him and saying all kinds of things. And so I looked at it. It looked bad. But the more in the day that tweets kept going on, there was some tweets that looked normal, that sounded something like he would type or, just say in general. And there's some that was just, it looked like it was two personalities. Like somebody, like if you ever seen the character from Batman, Two-Face, it's two personalities. One's just normal and one's just going off. That's exactly how it was on Twitter that day. So and then I heard the thing where he said that he had an ex-guy like that worked with him as his info. That, in my opinion, for someone like that, there are people that are like that. It made more sense. It just looked like it made sense, like he did get hacked. Because 1 minute it was just ranting about something, and the next it was just something normal on Twitter. It's just some normal tweet. I don't know, and he also stated that he kept getting logged out, so it just made it seem like it was kind of hacked.
It was a whole ordeal that Falcon fans were not pleased about. A lot of Falcon fans went after Jamal Anderson, and as Robert stated before the podcast, Jamal Anderson's never acted that way towards the Falcon organization. Robert, your thoughts on it? Obviously, when you heard about it, you said straight off the rip that's not Jamal. Robert, your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I didn't find out about it till this morning from you guys. So, I mean, it was a shock to me, but, Jamal's always been professional. This sounds nothing like him. Why would he be stirring up this kind of controversy? When we're at a crossroads, whether we're going to make the playoffs or we're going to fall flat on our faces. I mean, we don't need any more distractions, especially from former players. I mean, this is almost like, Eugene Robinson trying to solicit the hooker the night before the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. I'm not buying it for a minute. I believe Jamal's side of the story. I think he's been hacked, but we all know Jamal well enough to know he's always been professional, and this doesn't sound like him at all.
Jamal, if you're watching the podcast, we'd love to have you on, brother. Get your side of the story.
Yes, we would.
And share the podcast to Jamal Anderson if you got the hookups, man. Hit the like button.
I don't know. It just don't seem like you see him I've seen him multiple times at training camps, just sitting there, just like a normal person, just talking to other fans. Like he's just there being a fan now.
Jamal's always been a cool guy. Even when I've met him, he was always.
It just don't seem like it was
chill.
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like he was hacked. It's got to be. It just doesn't seem right.
It probably was. But we had to talk about it here on the podcast because Falcon fans were sharing it. It was going viral there all week. So we wanted to be sure to talk about it on the podcast. Before we get out of here, obviously we want to speak on the Falcons, but we also want to speak on something a little bigger than what football is itself. The DFU this year wants to take the opportunity to sponsor some child or a family that need this holiday season. We would love to sponsor a kid or a family. So if you guys know somebody, please message me directly on Facebook. You can catch me on Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok. You can message me on YouTube, wherever you want to message me at. Give me the contact of somebody that you guys know could use the help this season during this holiday season. We would love to, whether that be a couple of gifts, a Christmas dinner, whatever that may be, we would love to sponsor a family this year. So please share this podcast to anybody in need and give me the info so I can directly message that person and make sure it's all okay to sponsor that family. But It's just something we want to start here at the channel. I want to do it every Christmas from here on out. So, Falcon fans, if you could help us out during this organization of what we're trying to start, we'd greatly appreciate it. With that being said, so to close the podcast out, I want to ask you guys one final question. Coming out of the bye week, we have some pretty significant matchups, and I'm about to pull the schedule up, and I want to ask you guys what you think this final record could be for these Atlanta Falcons. So if you bear with me for just a second, I'm going to pull up the Falcons schedule if my phone will stop tweaking. But there's a lot of big names here on this list, guys, heading into the last ending part of your season. You face the Chargers, obviously, Sunday. Then you play the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins' old team. Then you play the Raiders, you play the Giants, you play the Commanders, another high-flying team, the Commanders. Then you close the season out on the Panthers. So if we could give a honest opinion on how this season could end right here, guys, let's not be biased. We obviously want to win every game here. But if we could give an honest opinion, I'll go through the list. We'll say coming out the gate Sunday, you play the Chargers. Okay. Chargers is a very good team. We know this. And this may be kind of hard to go off of. But could we say that game's a W, or could that be maybe a possible L here for the remainder of 5 to 6 games of the schedule?
I'm feeling confident. After you get embarrassed the way you do on national television, and then you have a whole week to read, just look into everything, I feel like you come out and get this win, especially at home.
So you got 6 games to close the season out on. Here's the question. How many of those 6 games could you see the Falcons winning? What is the record out of those 6 games? Chargers, Vikings, Raiders, Giants, Commanders, Panthers.
True, honest opinion, I see a 10-7 or 11-6.
So you win 3 more games to finish the
You
season
get past
off.
them 7 wins, 100%. I don't care what it is. You're getting past them 7 wins.
So you're season off 3-3.
I'm leaning more towards a 10-7. But
and the 10-7 will probably close you out with NFC South winners.
I'm looking at it this way.
Will probably do that.
Both Washington and Minnesota have not beaten teams. They've beaten teams over 500, but it's not been by much.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also lost majority of them teams that are over 500.
So Philip, what you're telling me is these scary teams that you see here on the schedule
They're
in the season
they're
are beatable.
good. They're good, but they're human. They can be beaten.
Absolutely. So I'm cool with a 10-7 record. You finish the season off 3-3. Falcons head off into the postseason, NFC South champs. You have a playoff berth. Robert, your thoughts on this remaining schedule? You have 6 games left: the Chargers, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Giants, Commanders, then the Panthers. Robert, your thoughts on what this remaining schedule could be? 6 games here. What could that record be?
In all honesty, I think that, realistically, I will say 4-2 down the stretch, and we finish 10-7, and we do win the division. That's just looking at the schedule right now on paper. Both the Vikings and the Commanders seem like they've regressed a little bit. Now, are all 6 of these games winnable? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just, it's all going to depend on how we come out of the bye week, if we're prepared, if we're, physically better than we were. And it's also you're going to have to figure in, what can happen to the opponents down the stretch. I mean, there's always the possibility of injuries.
Yep, absolutely.
And of course, the Vikings, they've got Sam Darnold at quarterback. That's nothing that, yeah, and nothing against him personal, but I was never really sold on the kid, but I digress. The Vikings and the Commanders games are both on the road. It's going to be difficult. And, my honest opinion, I think we finish 10-7. We go 4-2 down the stretch. We win the division. We get a home playoff game if we're healthy and if we're there mentally and we're prepared. I think we win in the first round, and we just go from there.
Robert, if you can get to the playoffs and you win that first round playoff game, Falcon fans are happy. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to do. You've solidified your fan base. You're now back on the right track to being a winning franchise. I think Falcon fans would be ecstatic to win a game in the bins, a playoff stature of that type of game. That would be historical for Falcon fans, because I think that lights a whole new, another light in the city. Falcon fans are going to come out if you make that playoff game. I'll know in the chat said that Commanders game is my worry. like I was with Denver. It's just so future thing to wait for 50-50. And it is because you've lost to the Commanders here 3 games in a row the previous 3 seasons with a different head coach, obviously, Arthur Smith.
The only thing that's going to keep the Commanders on beating us if they do.
If Jaden Daniels starts running the ball.
If it's their offense. Their defense don't worry me. Yeah. We can shred across that defense. Philadelphia did it. We beat Philadelphia in overtime. That was a good matchup. That game really could have been either way there, but we pulled it out. We can do it against the Commanders. I'm not too worried. It's got to contain Jaden Daniels just like we did Jalen Hurts. That's all we have to do.
I'm going to give it my honest opinion here, and I think the Atlanta Falcons can close out 10-7. I say they go 4-2, the 2 games they lose. And you guys may hate me for this because we just took 2 L's back-to-back, but I think we lose against the Chargers. I'm going to call the Chargers game an L, and I'm going to call the Commanders game an L, and then you win the other previous 4. The Falcons still make the playoff spot. They still have the NFC South division title. And then they possibly win a playoff game, like Robert said. Falcon fans are flying high no matter what that final season. If you go 9-8 and you make the playoffs, Falcon fans are still happy. That's just make the playoffs. Just make the playoffs.
Man, we going 12-5. What you talking about?
That would be amazing.
That
would be amazing.
6-game win streak heading into the playoffs. Tough.
I'll put it like this: if the Falcons win the remainder of their season, I'm calling the Super Bowl.
We go into that guy 12-5, bro. I'm outside. It's full-blown cold. I'm shirtless outside, swinging my shirt around, bro. We riding down the road with flags up, blaring, "Welcome to Atlanta," man.
That's the dream. That's the goal, man. Falcon fans, finish strong for us, man. Finish strong. That's all we ask. Take the NFC South. Don't give it to anybody that you swept. Finish the NFC South. Get the playoff spot, and let's worry about the playoffs. Let's not worry about anything else, but get the playoff spot here back in Atlanta. Falcon fans, we have reached a 36-minute podcast here in the bye week. We wanted to bring you guys content. We didn't have much to speak about, but we wanted to make sure we brought you live content. We will be back next week speaking on the Falcons versus Charger matchup at home in Atlanta. Falcon fans, be sure to tune in with us. We won't be live. We won't be live Friday because obviously the hometown is in the playoffs. So catch us more than likely Sunday morning before the game. You'll catch DFU with the live pregame show. We may do a pop-up show this week during the middle of the week if we get a special guest. That is always something that we try to work for here at DFU. So stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the ring the bell button. Like, comment. Stay tuned with DFU, man, because we got a lot coming for you this season. Philip, Robert, I appreciate you guys for coming through this afternoon to do the podcast. Give me your shout-outs for today before we log off.
My God, my Lord and Savior, man. He got me here another day. We heading into this week. This busy week, but we're going to make it through it. Then here, Thursday, Friday, through whatever, man. It's going to be a fun little vacation, 4 days off. I'm going to be vibing, so I'm thankful for that, man. Yeah. Shout out to them Dirty Birds, man. We got to come back. We got to make a statement coming out of this embarrassing loss to Bo Nix of all people. But anyway, 10-year vet, college vet over here. But anyway, shout out to them Pirates, man. We did our business come last Friday or this past Friday. We have a chance to make it. We have a chance to make it to the championship in the Benz, and we can also do it against none other than our own rival, who we beat this past month,
to win the region. To win region,
which was the ranked 56th team in the nation, which is Pierce County. We have a chance to beat them,
aka Stetson Bennett's hometown.
We have a chance to beat them again in the Benz this time, man. That is going to be an honor if we do it. We just have to keep working. We're going to have some contests there, but we can do it, man. So shout out to the Pirates, man. Let's get through it. Let's keep settling, man.
Absolutely.
Rise up too, baby, and power up, baby. Yeah. Power up, baby.
We own the uppers, we ain't on the downers, Falcon fans. Robert, shout outs for tonight or today's show, brother. Glad to have you here in the live podcast.
Well, shout out to God himself. He has brought me through this whirlwind of a year. And both you guys know the struggles I've had, all year long. But, holidays are coming up. Falcons are doing pretty good. Dogs are doing pretty good. Things are on the up and up. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
Shout out to you guys for letting me be a part of this, man. It means so much to me. It's words can't even begin to describe it. Shout out to our viewers. Without you guys, this isn't possible. Shout out to the Falcons organization. Got to be prepared. Got to take those Chargers down a notch. We got to get back on track. Got to get that. Got to win that division title, and
Yes.
we got to have something to be happy about. And as always, shout out to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy. I love y'all. Rise up.
Absolutely, man. Rise up. And shout out to all the Falcon fans that tune in tonight, man. We greatly appreciate it. I keep saying tonight like it's
Tonight show.
like it's a Tonight Show or something, man. I don't know. Shout out, man. Shout out to all you guys, man. Shout out to God above. Shout out to the wife for taking care of the babies while we do this podcast, man. Shout out to everybody that's subscribed in the past since we started this podcast, man. You guys just don't know what it means to us to rock and keep us going, man. It really means a lot to DFU. Shout out to the Falcons that hopefully can get back on track here. This ending the season, hopefully we can end it strong, make that playoff push, and be the team that we all know we can be, man. Real quick before we close it out, I want to say if you guys know anybody that could benefit from DFU's calls this Christmas, sponsor a kid or sponsor a family, please message us. Do not be embarrassed. Do not be shy. We're not going to do anything that the family does not want done. We will message that family before we do any kind of surprise sponsorship. So please message us on Facebook, wherever it may be at. Get to us about that. Also, shout out to my man Robert here in the bottom of the screen. That guy's reached 200 mark on his weight loss journey, man. Shout out to Robert, doing big things, man. This year is nothing but up and coming for Robert. And I want to give a personal shout out to Robert because I was on a weight loss journey not long ago. It was 40 pounds, only 40 pounds, but 40 pounds is a lot to work for, Robert. I know 200, man. That's a major milestone. So shout out to Robert for that. And once again, man, shout out to you guys for being here on the podcast, man. I greatly appreciate y'all. As always, it is episode 110 in the books here for DFU. It is the bye week, but not for long. Chargers is on the schedule ahead. Falcon fans, stay tuned because DFU is out of here, man. A-Town down. Right.